Hello guys, Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera. So this is basically the replacement class for last week's, for this week's. And today I will continue our lesson plans on the 5 video games principles that motivate endless play and learnings. And also I will continue a bit on for this 1 hour. I will continue a bit on hardware and software as well. So it is important for you to at least listen to this lesson plans and read this lecture note, because towards ends of this lesson, you were required to submit um, a simple report, basically a simple report, so that you can write in what is your knowledge based on principles of games. So based on your research, write it down. There is a few tasks, I think 2 tasks that you need to do, so that we can, when you come up with when we meet again, hopefully when we meet again in a class face to face, so I can further instruct you on how to complete your task. And we will discuss and we will do these uh, discussions in class about the principles of games. Okay, let's start by a simple quotation here, a simple quotes here, which is, it say, contrary to principles of games designs, principles of gaming. Uh, Previously, we learned about the principles of games designs, such as fidelity, goals, and etc. etc. But contrary to the principles of game design, in the principles of gaming. So now we're learning the principles of gaming, which is when you start playing a games and not creating a game, is by think over the gameplay itself. So the important is, what you're trying to say is, anda perlu fikirkan mengenai gameplay, bagaimana cara, corak, pattern permainan yang anda akan lakukan, yang anda akan wujudkan dalam anda mencipta permainan dan games design. Nombor 1, first we go to the interactive with informative feedbacks. Even in fact, if you sekiranya anda tidak mengambil subjek, tidak mengambil course game design, anda mengambil course multimedia design, anda akan belajar juga mengenai what is the importance of interactivity. Penekanan ataupun the stress about interactivity is very important, especially when we talking about the today, the technology, enhancements of teknologi yang berkembang. Ia membolehkan banyak perkara memerlukan interactivity. Malah mengikut teori pakar-pakar kaji yang mengkaji bahagian interactivity dan penemuan baru uh, dalam bidang-bidang production sepertinya, mengatakan, they say that uh, whatever that you try to come up today, if you have any ideas on how to come up with the new projects, for example, you always need to come up with the interactivity. What is the interactivity that you can propose or you can think of? Is an activity with the clients, with the user. So there's always an important aspect that you need to consider when you create something today. There must be always and interactivity between the user, which is the clients, and you yourself, the designer. There's mesti ada interactivity. Berbanding zaman saya dulu, back in 2000, year 2000, in fact, dalam bidang games, dalam bidang multimedia, kami hasilkan produksi itu berdasarkan kepada pemikiran designer itu sendiri, dan tidak memikirkan apakah keperluan-keperluan penting yang diinginkan oleh user ataupun audience, uh, ataupun player apabila kita bercakap berkenaan dengan games. Tetapi kita tidak memikirkan apa yang mereka perlukan. Basically kita just buat, harapkan yang terbaik dan cuba jual satu produk. Tetapi apabila masa berubah, bermula daripada tahun 2000, 2006, 2000, 2008 dan sebagainya dan seterusnya, kajian menunjukkan perlunya ada interaktiviti di mana melibatkan user atau audience dalam anda punya produksi. So first key point here, which is interactivity with informative feedback. Interactivity distinguish game from other entertainment mediums. It's also the core of our most fundamental human process. So ia adalah satu, orang kata, asas ataupun satu core bagi satu proses yang melibatkan um, yang melibatkan apa saja aspects of human process, terutamanya dalam bentuk pembelajaran. So dalam bentuk pembelajaran, no one needs to tell a baby how to crawl, walk or talk. They learn on their own by following a natural learning process called the perception action cycle. They take action, get feedback, course correct and try again. The process cannot occur without feedback. So basically what they trying to say di sini, perlunya ada interactivity, uh, antara perlunya ada interactivity dalam permainan games untuk membolehkan wujudnya perception action cycle ni. Apabila anda mewujudkan aktiviti, contohnya apabila anda menghasilkan games anda, uh, ada anda meletakkan aspek-aspek seperti ada jika player itu melakukan sesuatu dan tercapai apa yang dia telah cuba lakukan, so meaning is dia telah achieve dia punya goals dia, then anda beri the rewards. Then anda juga sekarang ini anda juga memberikan option kepada player itu sendiri untuk memikirkan jalan permainan mereka, how they plan their games. Berbanding dengan games-game di zaman dahulu, mereka hanya mementingkan aspek seperti permainan sahaja dalam bentuk permainan dan entertainment. Tetapi games-game sekarang lebih menumpukan kepada player itu sendiri menentukan dia punya arah dan tujuan permainan mereka. So bila ada pembentukan daripada segi keupayaan player untuk berfikir dan bertindak mengikut according to what they want, basically. So basically we are menghasilkan perception action cycle. That's why said here, they take action, get feedbacks, course correct and try again. Simple games such as, for example, Tekken 3. For example, Tekken 3, before you start to fight with one of the characters, with your enemy, basically you train yourself. Basically you train dengan orang kayu tu kan. If you remember, if you play games of Tekken 3, for example, there always orang kayu that you can punch, you can kick. Orang kayu tak buat apa. But when you play with the other characters, for example, you are Chun-Li and you are lawan dengan karakter, I don't remember, I don't remember one of the character. Uh, 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 I don't remember one uh, so basically you are Chun Li and you want to lawan dengan karakter lain contohnya. So basically um, you start learning. Anda akan tewas, anda akan kalah, tapi dalam anda mengalami kekalahan, then restart balik semula, bermula semula, then anda bermain balik semula, then slowly you are learning the process. That's you take the action basically. You get feedback. You get feedback which is you start learning. Okay, if you do this, you akan kalah. Then you cannot do this, so you stop doing this so that you boleh menang. So that's the process. The process that most important, which is interactivity with informative feedbacks. Another one is if you play simple game, for example, usually they always an information provided before you start the game. There is a task given to you. Then usually sometimes you have the mentor or you have the guidance. You meet somebody and somebody berbisik pada you, okay, this is you kena buat ini, you kena buat ini, then baru you boleh fulfill you punya goals. So basically you ada you punya informative feedbacks tu yang membolehkan you access you punya games. And that's important. When you start a games, remember there is always dual interaction. DUAL, dual interaction. Depan, belakang, kiri, kanan mesti ada interactivity wujud di antara player dan juga uh, which is you, the provider of the games. Contohnya di sini dia kata Pong was the first. Pong ni if you can Google, Pong is the simple game, much more simpler than Tetris. If you guys know Tetris game, it's involved two knobs and simple directions. Basically, you just avoid missing ball for high score. Sangat popular dan it was an instant hit. Large part of Pong's success is that it provide instant informative feedback to its player. Sebab dia ada informative feedback. Simple informative feedback je. If you buat macam ni, jadi macam ni, then you achieve your goal. Simple as that. For example, uh, back in 2005, 2006, if I'm not mistaken, in Facebook, there's a simple game, uh, crop games, which is tanam pokok bunga, tanam pokok jagung. The task is very simple, but it's informative feedbacks. You grow the jagums, certain times you boleh tuai jagung tu, you boleh harvest, then you boleh jual, then you achieve you punya goal, you proceed to the next levels. It's become popular games, everyone playing it, because it was very simple, it was very informative. uh, so everyone macam take a break from dari kerja, play sekejap, then main sekejap, lepas tu tutup, kemudian leave it, biar dia pokok jagung tu for example membesar dan berbuah. Kemudian bila break daripada kerja, buka balik semula, main balik semula, tengok pokok jagung tu dah membesar, then you boleh harvest. So it's very informative feedbacks to its players. This allow players to go through their um, natural learning process from the onset of the game. Try to hit the ball, miss, too short, course corrected. So this is about the Pong games too. You try to hit the balls. By providing meaningful feedback, the games allow players to learn from the action. This create a fundamental satisfying experience and solid platforms of play from which to expand. So sama juga dengan games macam saya cakap, games crop tanam pokok jagung dalam Facebook dulu. Everyone plays. It's a very simple game. In fact, the provider of the game managed to sell the game. I think dia berjaya jual games tu, then they become very rich. Dan start daripada very simple game aja basically. But cukup informatif. If you tanam, siram air, okay, biarkan. Okay, you pergi buat kerja, you dah habis ya buat kerja, you rasa boring buat kerja, you nak start main balik game tu sekejap, dalam 15 minit, 10 minit main sekejap. Okay, you tengok pokok yang you siram dah tumbuh dah. Kemudian keluar dia punya buah jagung, tunggu buah jagung tu besar. So bila you fulfill this, you proceed to the next level. Okay, this time different task, tapi uh, it's almost like you play this. If you remember, if you play Sim, Sim, you have one character that you need to take care of. You bagi dia mandi, you bagi dia makan. This was very informative feedbacks. Who knows? It's become very popular. Uh, so, in a way, uh, informative feedback, this is important when you provide the information, good enough information, so that the player uh, learn from the actions. When they learn from the actions, so meaning is, so when they learn from the actions tu yang membolehkan dia uh, bermain dengan lebih baik lagi. Okay, now we proceed to the meaningful, the number two key points in the creations of game playing. Not principles of game, but principles of game playing. You need to have the meaningful goals. At the heart of every game is a goal. People play game because they find the goals meaningful. Whether it's finding the key to open a door in Zelda, for example, the game of Zelda, or killing birds to retrieve eggs in Angry Bird, video games are excellent at providing goals that players are intrinsically motivated to engage in. Uh, Below is a set of feature video games goal is typically follow. Uh, Contohnya macam Angry Birds, you have your task untuk, if you ever saw Angry Bird games, even if you can Google and check it out about the Angry Bird games, it was so popular back then. Everyone playing it on the iPads. Sampaikan there is a phenomena, people make t-shirts, make hoodie, make jacket out of the Angry Bird punya games. The manufacturing company of this game managed to sell it to millions of people in the world using hardware platforms such as iPad, and they become very popular. It's very simple. It has the goal, simple goal, which is you just nak runtuhkan, you just nak tembak the other side of the enemy side tu. So you just nak runtuhkan, gunakan burung tu, Angry Bird tu, untuk runtuhkan susunan burung dekat sebelah sana tu. The goal is simple. Number one, the goal is simple. I can state what the goal is in one sentence. Saya dah mention goal ni sekejap saja tadi, in one sentence. The goal is clear. The goal makes sense on a gut level. The goal is authentic. The goal is integrated with the task that I engage into to achieve it. The goal has a hook factor. There is something special, unique and different that draws players in. Nowadays, kalau you nampak pop-ups, then even if you want to play a simple games, game yang tembak-tembak tu, if you point, then you try to tembak, kena pada karakter tu, tapi you have to choose the angle, the right angle untuk bunuh karakter tu. to kill the character. So that's the simple games, but it has the meaningful goals. Same goes juga kalau kita main heavy games. Uh, Tetris have their goals, but games today is depends on the how complex is the game. So the more the complex the game, the more the goals is. For example, uh, if you guys don't know this game, I wish you know it. It's called Gods of War, Ragnarok. Um, I don't play this game basically, but I love to watch it. I love to watch people play this game. The main character is Kratos, and Kratos have been given a simple goal. Simple goals. Uh, of course, there is a storyline, but in the gameplay, there always a goals like Kratos is pendamai. You bring peace. Although you kill people, you kill bad people, but you bring peace. But at the same time, you try to bring peace to this universe. You try to stop the violence. It has a goal, but it's a very complicated goals compared to Angry Birds. So basically, if you're trying to do playing games, creations of gameplay, you need to have a meaningful goals. The simplest, the better. And now we go to the experience of growth. Video game fulfill this need, which is the growth. They allow players to start with rudimentary skill and proceed through a series of increasingly difficult challenges, honing their skills. This is the best example that I can give is Sim, SIM. Um, Sim, you have a growth in Sims, whereby you take care of your characters. You uh, apa ni, in the morning times, you mandikan you punya character, then breakfast. If you tak mandikan you punya ni, then you punya level akan very low, then dia akan start uh, depression, dia ada depression, then dia akan you punya body punya kekuatan tu akan drop kepada level low. So but if you treat your character good, you mandikan dia, you bagi dia breakfast, you bawa dia keluar, then you belikan dia pet, dia ada pet, that is the experience of growth. While you experience the growth, if you play this game before, Sim, I'm sure you play it. Remember tak, you kena carikan you punya Sim character ni, uh, apa ni, partners. Kalau dia tak ada dia punya partners tu, dia tak ada dia punya boyfriend, girlfriend tu, dia akan uh, dia punya mood dia merundun, the character don't have a mood, dia punya level pun turun. So this is the growth. This is what I'm talking about. Uh, Same thing if you play uh, games such as Minecraft and dan sebagainya. It's always about growth. You have the skill of build something in Minecraft, then slowly you learn from other players, you learn from you go to the forum sessions, you learn a few tricks. So you got the skill, you have the skill. Not okay, not only Minecraft. I mean is Nintendo games such as Nintendo games such as not Minecraft, the not Farmville. Farmville is the old games. Tanam, tanaman, cucuk tanam, bercucuk tanam, not Farmville. the character tu ada budak perempuan tu Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing. In Animal Crossing, you learn the skills, you have the skills. When you have the skills, you develop the skill, then you dapat upah, dia dapat duit. So this is the growth that we're talking about in games. Basically, they experience that growth through a variety of mechanism, whether it is moving on to the next levels or leveling up a character. Each progression become benchmark for the player, for their accomplishments. Give the player sense of satisfaction and empowerment. If you play Animal Crossing, for example, this is a rewarding process and encourage player to continue along the progressions. Make friends, communication skills. They teach you about communication skills. If you're very good in communication skills, uh, the other character will help you, give you some things. They will tell you, okay, how to make money. If you want to live in the Animal Crossing world, they tell the other character tell you how you can make money by selling this. If you have skill, you can build the house. Then they will pay you. So this is the growth that I was talking about. So go through mastering new concepts. The progression is based on external timeline rather than the results of the student actions. The student needs to experience growth in their learning is not being met. If this process continue, it will generally lead to disengagement. So this is another story. So that's the growth. And number four, we have the feeling of safety. One of the most important human need is to feel safe. We put this ahead of just about any other needs. Any games, whatever games, how scary the game, how brutal the games, you must put the player in a safety mode. In a safety mode meaning is there is always the room for the player to be safe. That's why we have player tu dia ada beberapa live, beberapa live dia sebelum dia ni. Even you provide, for example, if you look on the movie Jumanji, every character have dia punya own unique characteristics. uh, for example, in the movie Jumanji is about game after all. The Rock have special powers, have special needs, have a special thing that he can do, basically the Rock, the actor. So basically, when you give this to the character that you build, basically you make the player feel much more safer. So it say here, if people don't feel safe, their fight and flight mechanism is triggered and they revert to using the limbic brain, the primitive reptilian brain, where they make decision on impulse without thinking. So that's why we need to provide the safe sites on our player sites. Games are great learning environments because on basic level they create a safe space to learn. Game are fundamentally about play. That's why we start dengan very low level, easy level, so that the player can start exploring and learning first. Then we provide them with the mentor, with the guidance that help them. Okay, if you do this, you gain more power. You're not gonna easily going to die, because you can collect the points and you can get powers. Because that why in the gameplay there are so many box and place where you can kick the box, you get the boost up power, you get the levels, you get the up levels, and so many stuff. It makes the player feel safe to continue with the games. So when people are in the state of play, they are much more willing to expose to things they aren't familiar with and make mistake. As usual, kita main games, baru start main games, kita explore the games, kita make mistake. Tapi without fear, make mistake without fear or judge or criticize. This create an environment where people can fail and then learn from those failures without triggering fight or flight mechanism. So basically, we learn as long we play the games. That is why in these courses that offered in C, we also teach. There is a term called gamifications. Check it out, guys. GAMIFICATION. Gamifications. Gamification is about games that can educate people. In my time when I was working in industry, I do lots of this type of game, which is games that educate people. For example, if you want to learn if you want to learn science, chemistry form 5, uh, by learning chemistry form 5 from this gamification concept, not only you learn from the interactivity process, but it will stimulate your brain. Dia akan merangsangkan lagi you punya proses pembelajaran tu. Alright, when talking about merangsangkan you punya thinking, senses and everything, we going to the number 5, which is engaging our senses. Remember, when you create a gameplay, you must always consider a player senses. Video game engages on basic level as an entertainment medium by providing a delightful experience of colors and sound for our senses, eye and ears in particular. So that's why I said when I doing games that educate people. For example, we do a module about chemistry form 5. In the learning module, there are plenty of game. For example, the user, the reader, the learners have to experience the games on how is chemistry form 5. For example, I remember I designed we do the games about the correlations. Correlation is um, in Malay we call berkarat lah, perkara yang berkarat, besi yang berkarat, bagaimana terbentuknya correlations, iaitu karat kepada besi dan sebagainya. So it start with the games. If you imagine, if you just learn it by textbooks, you cannot picture. But if you play little bits of games, then you will understand, because it stimulates you punya senses. You belajar, tapi you belajar dengan dibekalkan interactivity process. Ada colour yang cantik, ada animations, ada bunyi yang menarik, bunyi yang relevance dengan apa yang you belajar dan sebagainya. So that is why it say here, compare the experience of doing math homework on a static black and white piece of paper. Berbeza dengan you belajar mathematics on TV, bright colours and captivating sounds. Our brains can't help but continually be drawn by the sensory experience. This is very important when you design the gameplay. We consider the sensory experience, bunyi, mainkan peranan, not animations, the colours and everything. So of course education is not entertainment. However, that doesn't mean educational experience must be designed without delighting our senses. Very correct. The key is to provide just enough sensory engagement to create a pleasant experience, but not so much that it distract from the learning. When talking about sensory engagement ni, uh, it's very long issue. It's very long issue to be debated sebenarnya. Malah orang mengkaji sampai sekarang, orang menghasilkan PhD, mengkaji mengenai sensory engagement ni. Because ia banyak membantu, it create it help many people. In fact, in the game process itself, uh, gamification sebenarnya, contohnya gamification itu sendiri banyak membantu industri-industri untuk membangunkan pembelajaran berbentuk games. So the rest you can read for your understanding, for your informations. So for the first task, okay, that's it folks, for the game principles of game playing. That's it for now. For your task, do the mapping on how good game principles can achieve a good gameplay goals. Okay. Mapping ini bermaksud pemetaan. So that you cuba tengok pada sesuatu games yang ada di market, dan you cuba bandingkan dia punya games play dia macam mana. Ada tak prinsipal-prinsipal yang saya cakapkan dekat sini, yang saya mention dekat sini, ada tak? Contohnya the basic game principles such as fidelity, goals, sampailah kepada dia punya game playing dia. Dia punya sensors, dia punya game, dia punya goals dia juga. Choose any games that you like and do the mapping about it, game principles, especially yang game principles yang first yang kita belajar sebelum ini, which is the game principles. um, let's see. Stable design game principle: fidelity, objective, constraints, success criteria, and rewards, play and competition. So you check out the games that you like, then you try to see if the games that you like tu ada ciri-ciri 7 principles of game design. Then think of its game principle. Is it good, average, or poor? So you can do this task by write it down. You can write it down, or you can um, in the form of bullet point maybe, or you can create a report, a simple report, explain what you been uh, experience. Did the game have the good game principles? Is it good? It's average, or is it poor? So I will continue with another slides in another 20 minutes or less maybe. So what is game design? Game design is what determines the forms of the gameplay. The game design determines what choice players will be able to make in the game world and what ramifications, a complex sequence of an action gamifications those choice will have on the rest of the game. So what is game design? Basically anda yang menentukan dia punya forms, dia punya bentuk, pattern, permainan, corak gameplay anda. Apakah pilihan pada players anda, apakah dia punya apakah dia punya complexity actions dia. In fact, kalau anda menghasilkan game yang berbentuk education, which is gamifications, here we have the words gamifications. So anda kena fikirkan apakah bentuk-bentuk form dia. Remember when you do uh, principles of art, you belajar last semester principles of art, elements of art, you ada belajar bentuk kan, forms. Dalam art dia mesti ada forms. So same thing juga dengan game design, dia ada dia punya forms dia. In art, form, shape, membentuk kepada sesuatu yang yang melambangkan ataupun membentuk anda punya lukisan. Dalam lukisan anda perlu ada form, anda perlu ada shapes. Itu juga dengan game design, anda perlu ada form untuk membentuk anda punya game design tu. So, who is game designer? Someone who determines what the nature of the gameplay by creating the game design. This is, I must stress to you guys, this is the importance of game designer. Even if you are very good in the games coding, but if you are not good here in creativity and you cannot design a good game design, then the game itself cannot be sell, tak boleh dijual, tidak akan dapat sambutan. Seperti banyak games-game yang telah terjadi sebelum ini, mereka suka hasilkan game mereka berdasarkan daripada game yang mereka suka. For example, there is a famous game, then everyone try to copy this game. There is no unique styles, there is no personal and authentic styles. So you tak boleh jadi juga a good game design. So good game design is you have to be different. You cannot just follow whatever mentor that you like, whatever games that you like. Tak boleh. You have to determine how good is the gameplay. The game designer is the person who design the games, who thereby establish the shapes and nature of the gameplay. The game designer may do some concept sketches or create some of the art assets that are used in the game. So, sebelum you start bermain or sebelum you start creating a games, there is a lots of sketches. Today, you can do lots of sketches using your tabs, using your iPad, for example. In fact, you can also still use the old school basic sketches with pen and pencils on the paper. Perlu ada banyak konsep. That is why I don't know if you learn this or not in the semester 1. In the other classes, if you are creating a logo, for example, you come up with one sketches, daripada satu sketches you pecahkan jadi 5. Daripada 5 idea you pecahkan jadi 10 idea. Itu yang you perlu buat sebenarnya. Daripada satu idea utama yang you fikirkan mengenai satu game tu, you pecahkan jadi 5 lagi idea. Daripada 5 idea you pecahkan jadi 10 idea lagi. Daripada 10 nanti barulah you akan nampak idea sebenarnya yang you rasa the best, very unique, boleh dijual dan orang akan suka. Game designer may write the script containing all the dialogue spoken by the characters in the game. Game designer juga uh, menulis skrip di dalam dialog yang dihasilkan yang akan dicakapkan oleh characters in the games. So you need to have the good skills of narrative. Menulis macam you buat buku, macam you cuba nak buat filem, macam you nak buat filem, nak buat drama, you kena menulis juga. The game designer might be taking care of the projects from a management and production standpoint. Bukan itu saja, you have to be in the process of managing the game design ni sampailah kepada production process, keeping a careful watch on the members of the team to see that they are all performing their task. Semua adalah kerja game designer. So the question is, don't I need special equipment to design a game? No, since game design is simply decision making, you can actually design a game in your head. Very true. Doesn't need very strong software. For example, you want to start design, okay, the best software, the best tools to do the designs, to do everything. No, the best thing is come from your creative mind. Usually though, you will want to write down this decision because of our memories are weak, and it's easy to miss something important if you don't write things down. That is why in the class I asked you to come up with the folder, your design folder, your game design folder, because saya nak mewujudkan kebiasaan pada diri anda sebelum anda masuk industri, sampai anda masuk industri nanti, sebab anda akan kumpulkan benda-benda design ini dalam satu folder. Further, if you want to other people to help you make decisions or to help with the game, you need to communicate decision to them somehow, and writing them down is a good way to do that. Remember, you have the scripts. That is why there's secara teorinya lah. Secara teorinya, jika anda seorang yang bagus dalam mendesign satu games itu, then you have the good design documentations. You have good design documentations, you folderkan everything. Kalau you punya design documentation itu hilang dan someone curi, orang yang curi itu boleh jadi mungkin boleh wujudkan game design tu dan boleh jadi orang yang paling berjaya apabila game dia tu berjaya terjual dengan banyak. So that is why we have a copyright, that's copyrights dan intellectual property. Kita kena ada intellectual property so that your game design tu, kalau you dah registerkan under intellectual property, kalau hilang sekalipun orang lain tak boleh tiru games tu. What about programming? Don't game designer have to be computer programmers? No, they don't. First of all, many games can be played without the use of computers or technology. For example, board game, card games, analytic game, for example. Secondly, even for computer games or video game, it is possible to make the decisions about what those games should be without knowing all the technical details on how those decisions are carried out. This is perkara yang selalu saya ingatkan juga pada senior anda. Diorang sangat risau. Mereka rasakan jika mereka tak boleh menghasilkan sesuatu tu coding, for example, mereka tak boleh be the best coding programmer, then mereka tak boleh hasilkan a good game design. No, trust me, pengalaman saya dalam industri selama saya bekerja hampir 10 tahun dalam industri, sebelum saya mula mengajar di UPSI, mengajar saya bahawa sebenarnya orang yang berjaya tu sebenarnya dalam designer yang berjaya tu sebenarnya dia bukannya dia berjaya sebab dia ada the best software, the best hardware, dia adalah seorang programmer yang best design everything, tapi dia ada best creativity in mind. It is important to make the distinction between game developer and game designer. Game developer is anyone who has any involvement with the creations of the games. Engineers, animators, modelers, musicians, writers, producers, and designers who work on the games are all games developers. Game designer are just one species of game developer. So you are a game developer. Game developer tu terdiri daripada semua. Remember, kalau saya ada beritahu anda dalam satu group tu dia ada 5 orang. Uh, dia ada hardcore programmer, dia ada assistant programmer, dia ada multimedia designer, dia ada 3D designer dan dia ada designer ataupun junior designer. So ini dan termasuk syarikat tu sekali, termasuk syarikat dan juga orang-orang lain yang membantu dalam proses management itu diconsider as a game developer. Okay. Uh, who is game designer and what skill is required? What skill does a game designer needs? Okay, untuk game designer tu skill macam mana yang mereka perlukan? In short, all of them, almost anything that you can be good at can become a useful skill for a game designer. Here are some a big one. Animations. Modern game are full of characters that need to seem alive. That is why dalam game design ini ada elective which is you akan belajar animation dengan Dr. Syuhada, Dr. Nizam. Animations you akan give life pada you punya character. The very word animation mean to give life. Understanding the powers and limit of the character animation will let you open the door for clever game design idea. It's always about boys. Sometimes boys akan mesti nak buat games tu 3D. No. Sometimes you don't have to do the 3D. If you come up with the 2D animation pun, if a good games, dia akan berjaya juga. So you will be successful even if it was a 2D game design. Make it like, for example, Animal Crossing. Before Animal Crossing today, the long time ago Animal Crossing is not really 3D, guys. It was almost a combinations of 2D, almost sedikit nampak macam 3D. Tapi it was very successful. Everyone play sampai sekarang it's evolved. Everyone still play. Malah sekarang kalau you nak buat you nak buat you punya um, kasut Nike ni you boleh buat, then you boleh jual dalam Animal Crossings. So again, doesn't have to be a very bombastic 3D animation that make the good game design. Now, it was the ideas. Then, what is the anthropology? You will be studying your audience in the natural habitat, trying to figure out their heart desire so that your games might satisfy the desire. Anthropology ni kalau ikut adalah ilmu mengkaji manusia dan binatang sebenarnya. Tapi ada satu movie, I don't know in your times, let me think again. Very popular movie. I don't remember. Tapi movie tu it's a animations under the sea. I think it's I don't remember, but it's not the Little Mermaid, but it's something about movie under the sea punya movie, underwater. So by right Disney hantar dia punya designer dia pelukis ni duduk dekat duduk experience dan belajar macam mana untuk buat tengok kan karakter binatang tu, study cara binatang tu bergerak, study dia punya behaviour and everything before they come up with the real movie about the animal. So that's how you must be an anthropology to be a good game design. Architecture, you will be designing modern buildings, you will be designing whole cities and worlds. Familiarity with the world of architecture, that is understanding the relationship between people and space, will give you tremendous leg up in creating games worlds. Yes, you also have to be a good architecture. Brainstorming, so we need to create a new idea by dozen, by the hundreds, so lots of brainstormings in the gameplay, especially in when you dalam semester 4, you akan belajar game level design, you akan lebih pening sebab there are so many things you akan belajar. Business, the game industry is just that, an industry most gamers are made to make money. The better you understand the business and things, the better chance you have of making the games of your dream. So business, cinematography and communications and creative writing, there are lots of more to be explaining here. This is why I'm taking time out today. I will be explaining this more stuff here in our next class. So that's it, guys, for today. Please take your time to listen to whatever that I'm talking about today, and please do the task that I give to you, because in class we need to discuss about the tasks. So thank you everyone, and selamat hari raya dan selamat bercuti. Goodbye.